Hi, this is Lonnie with Grace Blossoms for You. It occurred to me the other day that I hadn't actually introduced myself, so pardon my manners. I guess I figure nobody wants to know my real name. It's not Grace. Grace Blossoms for You is the name the Lord gave me for my business that I had a few years back, and I just kept it. So what I want to do today is show you my take on a MasterBoard, but I want to feature some labels that I have designed myself and just show you a couple things that I would put on my MasterBoard. Now, if you don't know what a MasterBoard is, that's great. It's basically mostly I've seen people work with 12 by 12s. I like a smaller area to work with, so I've picked a coffee dyed 8.5 by 11 sheet of printer paper, and what I'm going to be doing is putting my take on it. So I want to put the word on my MasterBoard. Many people would tell you not to do that, but when you're journaling with your faith in mind, and if that's your focus, your goal is to promote the word, then I don't see there's anything wrong with that. So basically what I'll be taking, not strictly, but a lot of. So when I write out verses, I coffee dye those sheets. Now I can use the actual word here, or if I had made mistakes and cross step out, I can always just turn it over and put it in like that. Technically the word is still there, okay, and so I'm going to be using those sheets. I cut up a hymn sheet, not my hymn book, but I had a hymn on a sheet. I cut that apart, so I have some hymn strips. There's also some text in those pieces. Let's see what else. I wanted to keep it kind of the same thickness, so I got some digitals, and these were free from Victoria Designs. I'll try and link her in the description box. So I cut some of those out. I also have some just black and white of my own. And this one you've seen before. It's the graph paper that I printed out in black and white. And I coffee dyed that. That's on cardstock, so it's a little thicker. Should work though. So yeah, and then I want to add some different things to it yet, like I want to put some watercolor. Now I'm just gonna try and match the colors, so I'll pick that out as I go. I mean, you could use scrapbook paper if you wanted. I just try not to have too thick paper. So if you have some thin, that would work. Or if you want to make it thicker, that's totally up to you as well. So these are all just ideas. This is just how I want to do it. So I've got my gluing book here. So like Carrie the Crafter, he pointed out that he likes to start with the corners, and I do as well. I also prefer to work up and down, so horizontal and vertical, not necessarily diagonally. So we'll just get started. If I am too boring, then I will try to speed up the video later when I edit. I also will have a free digital available to go with what I'm doing here, because I do want to, like I said, add the labels at the end just for another layer. So I have this card, which I keep misplacing under everything else here. This is just to smooth out the papers. So I got my gluing book out, and I'm actually gluing on here now, so I will try to smarten up. I just like to get something kind of into the corners right off the bat. And yes, they're not always perfect. So once I decide kind of what color I'm going for, also I didn't want to put just, oh, here's some of that parchment paper. That'll work. Just maybe not the whole piece. Yeah, I see a lot of people making MasterBoards these days, and I mean, it's fun. It is. I like it. Some people might not, but that's okay too. I mean, I think we all gravitate towards what we like, so. Try to work my glue quietly. And I'm downstairs, so if I notice the freezer or the furnace going on, I might have to pause the video because my sound picks up all the noise. So it just went off, so hopefully we're good for a bit. Although it is quite chilly here. It was minus 19 this morning. So I think next week, as soon as I figure out the rest of my plans for it, I'm going to be starting a secondary journal. I just have all these things and I need to do something with them, so I'm going to try and do something extra. Haven't decided yet if I'm going to be making that of, you know, doing it on video, or I mean, I figure I'll show it to you when it's done so that you can see it, because I think that's part of the fun with this, is seeing what other people are making. Alright, I'm going to start putting some color in, and I think I'm leaning towards something something to go with these. So what will it be? Well, that doesn't look too bad with the purple hint there. Or do I want that one instead? It could be both of those, I think, because there's blue in here and purple. There's purple in here, there's blue in there. So, alright, I'm going to keep those out. Maybe I'll keep this one out as well. Alright. Trying not to overlap, but I make no guarantees. Sometimes stuff happens. But I have a plan for that. If I accidentally cut something too short and there's a gap, I have a plan to cover that later. I have a couple others ready to show you, but I thought I would make one with you. I'll put that on the border. Part of what I like about these is that you don't really have to think. You don't have to think too much. You can just do. I think many times we overthink things and then we end up not doing anything. And I got not quite far enough to the... I'll try to do better next time. That'll work. So yeah, a MasterBoard can be cut into different shapes for your projects, like pockets or tags. What else? They could be used as actual pages. In fact, that's kind of what I was thinking the other day when I was making them, that I might put them in my new journal. And I wanted them nature-based, because that's kind of the direction I'm going in with my next journal. I'm also toying with the idea of doing a recipe journal, but the planning on that one is not coming together as nicely as I hoped. The problem with a recipe journal, in my opinion, or in my case, in fact, is that well, I have a tendency to prefer the functional over the pretty. So I'm kind of concerned that if I make it pretty, it won't be functional. And if I make it functional, it'll just be a recipe book, and then why make a journal? So I'm kind of not sure. I'm still debating. Not sure how I'm going to make up my mind either, so So then I figured I would make a journal one, a nature one next, so that I wouldn't have to think about the recipe one anymore right now. I don't know. Too many options sometimes. So the reason I picked a coffee dyed paper is so that I'll still be able to have the design on the back. So it's kind of two dual purpose here. Okay, so I started the labels while I was doing the time lapse because the furnace was on at the same time. So anyways, what I've done here is just taken some paper, and it doesn't really want to stick too well because it's a thicker paper, and so it probably needs extra glue. I could have used thinner paper. I didn't think of it at the time because I usually have a have a regular paper that I go with when I make labels. But there's no reason you have to use a thick paper. You could use a thin one as well. Anyways, I'll just stick these down since I'm noticing that now. So So that's about all for the paper. Now I put the labels in what I thought were maybe strategic places, but I'm not finished putting things on here yet. But I want to show you the label sheet that you get as a printout today if you so choose to have one. This way maybe. It has many of my favorite Bible verses listed on it. I started making up stuff because a lot of people like number labels, and I thought I would like that. But it soon got old, and I thought I need these to mean something. That's when this came to my mind, is to do labels with prominent verses. Sometimes what happens, I'll see a reference to a scripture and I'll like, do I even know what that one is? And sometimes I'll go look it up, and other times I'll just say it. Yes, I know what John 3:16 is. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And so I think the reference sometimes can bring a verse to mind, and we don't necessarily have the whole verse written down. So that's why I thought, if you see this on a pocket or on a tag and it just happens to be there, you know, it could bring something to mind, or it's a conversation starter. But this is the sheet, and I'll have it on my coffee page, and you can access it there. I'll put the link to my coffee page in the description as well. All right, so then what else I was putting on are some of these labels, not labels, what are they? The what's the word? Washi tape, which I don't really think of it as washi tape, because not all of it's going to be see-through. So I'll just pick out a couple that match here. Seems to be a lot of blue on the page already. Same with pink. Oh look, we don't have any butterflies yet. I'm not gonna do the butterfly one. However, look what I found. It might be too light because I got a lighter background today, but putting lace on two-sided tape is an idea that I also liked. I'd have to make some more because I don't really see any that I want to use right now. But I also had another idea yesterday, which was, get this out of the way here. Not too long ago, I bought some netting. And it's gorgeous. And a big piece of it would probably look really good. But I don't want to put that much tape on there. So what I thought I could do is just make strips. I picked this one because it's a little, so you put the sticky side on the back side that you don't want to see. And you need to kind of see where you're putting it, which is the challenge with the netting or tool or whatever you want to call this. So then you do need to press it on there quite well. So far it's a little bit of a challenge to get the tape off. But there we go. So then and just stick that. And I kind of like it in the center of things where it will put things together. Like it'll kind of connect things, like blank with lines and then scripture, and then there's another piece. So that's connecting 3 different items. And so I thought I would make a few more of these. And it's got some interesting, like it's got the gold leaf, but it's also got just some gold dots. It's probably harder to cut than a lot of things. But then, you know, start thinking about what other kind of things you could do this with. You saw the napkins I did. Lace would work. Ribbons. I don't have a whole lot of ribbons laying around, but I'm sure they would look great. So and 2, it doesn't, there's no law that says you have to have the tape be exactly the same size as your item here. So my tool is a little wider than my tape. I think that's going to be fine though, because you don't see the tape, you just see the tool. And I like it in 3s, so I'm going to do one more. So yeah, I thought this was really fun, and if you're doing like a themed book, you could, like a baby book, perhaps, you could, you know, those things that we can't get rid of from when our kids were babies, and you hang on to them. Well, I've got some like flannel from back then. And I was thinking the other day, or is there even a way that I could incorporate that into some of the things I'm doing? And I mean, aside from a journal cover, I mean, that stuff comes to mind right away, but I was thinking aside from that, is there a way to put it just, you know, inside? This didn't line up very well. I mean, I wouldn't use the whole blanket, obviously. I'd have to cut into it, and sometimes that's painful also. So, but it's just an idea. Things we can, or even digitals. They might not be see-through, but so many different things we could do. Okay, so one more, and I'm gonna put it up here. I connect 4 or 5 things that way. And 2, if I had some, okay, I should have put something there. I still have some. It's a great way to cover up areas that maybe didn't turn out the way you wanted. Sometimes things rip on us and we need to make adjustments. And this is a challenge because it's not laying flat for me. but that will work. Just have to make sure it's stuck on there really well. I wouldn't want to use anything more spaced out than tulle, because I noticed that the two-sided tape is sticking through, so you don't want there to be, you know, large gaping holes, otherwise your paper is going to get stuck. But it sure is fun to play. And I think there's a couple other things that a couple other places that need something, but I won't do that right now with you. I will tweak them later. I will show you the other ones that I've made though. This is where I had some tulle with just like glitter, and that I like it, but it's probably a little too tacky, so I'm not sure about that one. I do like the look of it, it just adds like this sheen of glitter. And what else did I use on this one? About the same, just my stuff that I didn't end up using today. Oh yes, on this one I used some of the two-sided tape with napkins, and I used some stamps that I made. I actually did some stamping, and there's a stencil. I figured out how to make stencils on my Cricut Joy, and if you're interested in that, let me know. I will pop the answer in the comments if you express interest. So yeah, so those are a few that I've made, and I probably will come back and do some stenciling or stamping on the other two, because I think that just adds another layer, and it kind of somehow makes it more finished looking, if that's a thing. And two, I think this one's a little too pale. This one at least has some of the dark colors in it. I think it needs a little more drama, a little more contrast. So I'm gonna work on those, and those are probably the pictures that you will see in the thumbnail later, or that you saw at the beginning when you watched. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I wish you a great day. Started stamping and realized that, yeah, I wanted to cut one up with you guys so you could see how I was gonna use it. So now I've added some, what I would call contrast, basically adding some darker color so it's not all one tone. And what I ended up doing was making some more napkin tape, and I can see, oh, this is where it would kind of resemble washi, because you can see the words through, so that's kind of cool. And two, you could even stamp on top of the washi if you have paper there that would soak up the stamp. And I'm gonna call that one done, I think. Also here where I had the glitter, I added some tape, just left a little bit of the highlights of the glitter. Alright, so to cut it, I've seen people turn their sheet upside down so they don't know what's happening. Otherwise, you might start to, you know, guess. I think you get a more random selection if you cut it when it's when you can't see it. So let's try that. If I'm making tags, I will likely make them 2 inches. So I will cut that. Oh, that's 3 inches. Can't see it properly because there's a nub there. Okay, so that's 3 inches. What am I going to do with that? I'm not sure. I guess I'll be making 3-inch tags or journal cards. That would work, and then you could just further decorate them on the other side. So 3 by 4 usually is what I make my journal cards. So let's try that, because this should be well large enough for 2. Oh yeah. And if I want to cut some off, I can do that. Okay, so there's 2 journal cards. Like I said, you would finish decorating them with whatever you like. And then now we're going to make some. Better cover that up before I cut myself. Okay, so let's see. Let's try again for 2s. So tags, I also make bookmarks at 2 by 6. So that would work. That would make 2 nice tags, I think. I mean, they'd be a little bit shorter, but that's okay. So we'll do 2 by 4 1/4. Something like that. There we go. There's 2 tags. And again, you decorate them further for whatever project you're working on. How much have I got left here? That's almost 6 inches. These would make nice index card size. So we have that. So then you could write a verse on the other side. I would totally ink these. I won't do it on camera because you might not be into that. But you could ink them. You could write verses or anything else on the back. So there we go. We got, out of that 8.5 by 11, we got 2 tags, 2 large journal cards, and 2 smaller. Alright, so this time I really am saying goodbye, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.